Down the stretch we go. I want to introduce our guests first. We have some special guests today with us. We have Greg Thayer in Kenya, Cologne, PTA in Oxford, and we have Kimberly. I think she was the valedictorian of the last class from Colorado, and
Thanks
Jack
for the invite
Edwards.
back, Bill.
And Jack Edwards, she's a lot of energy, she's a lot of enthusiasm. So you got an easy crowd today. And then and I think we have Jack Edwards too, who was the valedictorian of class before that. So
Hello, everybody.
guys, don't feel hope you don't feel too much pressure.
We're a bunch of overachievers.
Yeah. So we'll start with if it's okay with oh, Paris is trying to get on, so maybe Kyle, we can go. I think I gave you the rights to share. I'm gonna turn off my camera and my microphone and enjoy. There's Paris.
Everybody see that?
Your team is loaded, huh? Oh my own.
Everybody see that? Or
Yes,
Yeah.
we can see it.
okay.
Yep, good to go.
Okay, so we did our presentation on flight delays, whether it was weather or cancellations, basically what caused delays and everything. But mine's first. I did a cluster column on it, and that was determined if there was a trend between the months, with whether it was more delays year after year, determined by month or by season, basically. As you see, there's the summit or the late delay or late aircraft arrival is highlighted in the gray. Security is orange, which is minimal, and then a weather delay is the blue. And then this was to show a correlation between weather delays having directly affect the late aircraft arrival delays, and security was minimal. And as you can see, that the weather delays did have effect on late aircraft delays, because once you have one late aircraft from a weather delay, it just compounds throughout the entire day. And I thought it was kind of wild that figured there'd be more delays during Christmas and that kind of timeline, which there was, but it's more consistently delayed towards the end of summer, early fall, pretty much year after year. And that's pretty much what I had for mine. And next is this slide.
All right, this should be mine. Everyone, sorry I was late there. So as we mentioned, we did ours on flight delays. So I did a control chart here and just paring down the data to make it something that was kind of digestible. The first thing I did was do it by airline and by airport, and then built the control charts over the duration of our period to see whether or not there was any seasonality, and then also to look if other airlines experienced something similar, so we could compare and contrast. And as you can see, there is some seasonality, but you can also see that there were troubles not attributed necessarily to the time of the year. So on the left here, you have Southwest at Bradley for flights delayed greater than 15 minutes. And on the right, you have JetBlue. You see there's both having a peak midsummer, which would make sense, right? It's all relative to the volume, peak travel season. But then if you were looking at Southwest data, you would say, hey, what happened here? We're above our upper control limit, more frequently than JetBlue, which is ironic given everything that happened over the last few months with their software issues. And this was just an overlay just to kind of show everything on one screen. You can see there is some correlation I guess not correlation. There is some similarities between the data patterns for both.
All right, this was me. So we're looking at canceled flights here by carrier. And this is across the entire US. So all the different airports. Basically, if we follow the 80-20 rule, my suggestion based off of this data set would be to not fly Southwest or American Airlines if you don't like dealing with canceled flights.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is my slide, linear regression. And to no surprise, there is a strong correlation between the weather and delays.
That should be it, I think.
Excellent. Excellent job. I don't think we ever had that one before. Weather delays. Special guest, anything? Greg, Kim, Jack, Kenya?
I thought you guys did a great job of showing what you learned in class. All the graphs made sense, and I was surprised to learn the data as well that the end of summer had the highest delays. I'm a Southwest flyer myself. I've never had a flight canceled, but it's crazy to see that they're the airline that cancels the most. Maybe I'll change my travel plans.
That was pretty compelling, wasn't it? In terms of how much.
Yeah, I guess what made you guys choose JetBlue then to compare against Southwest? Was it just a random one, or how'd you delineate that?
I actually sorted by most number of flights coming into and out of Hartford. So those just happen to be high volume airlines.
Okay, so you did it with the highest volume. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. I think you made the data talk, guys. Well done. A coffee mug and a certificate suitable for framing on its way.
Thank you.
Yeah, can't wait. Thanks.
So I think next I have next up would be Nick. Oh, I'm sorry, Joanne Marie. Okay, I'm gonna make you the co-host, Joanne.
Thank you, sir.
There you are. Just so everybody's knowledge, she was the valedictorian of this class.
I expect a sash with my mug. Thank
And you
you.
got to do a 15, 20-minute speech.
Oh. All right, so hello, everyone. This is our final project. The data today, we decided to use scrap data and the planned versus actual by work order and start digging into it and see what we could find as questions and answers. I was curious for the higher transaction items, is the scrap variance, so the difference between the planned and the actual scrap, the variance between those two numbers, does that actually correlate with more or less transaction quantity? And actually, it is like the weakest correlation I've ever seen, which was actually shocking to me. I thought for sure, as the transaction goes up, the scrap variance has to go up, but it actually doesn't. And next.
So kind of along the same lines, I was curious if the actual number of parts we make and then the actual scrap number, if there was any correlation there, and no, there's no correlation between it.
All right. So I was curious to see if there was a correlation between, what work center has the highest level of scrap and are there work centers where scrap is minimal? As you can see here, Pack 7 had the highest amount of scrap, significantly more than some of the other work centers.
And then my chart was just taking a look at order types. If there's, you know, the relationship between the planned percentage of scrap and the actual percentage of scrap. And there wasn't much, I think they were all pretty standard differences across the board, except for those middle two types were slightly different. But yeah, overall, it looked like the planned scrap was typically higher than actual. Overall, pretty good.
What's order type?
Oh, it's the actual like order type. So there can be consignment orders, regular type orders. JIT is just in time.
Yeah, I was
And then
gonna
like
say,
RWRK is rework, that kind of stuff.
And you know, interesting is, I don't know, maybe you guys have already looked at it though, was the amount of lead time you get versus scrap.
Hmm.
I mean, I love the way you guys laid this out, you know, like you're saying, well, I was interested in this, I was interested in that, and just make it a talk. It's really cool. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's about all I got.
Well, and that's it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice. Make data talk again. Great job. And now we get to go to, I think we can go to Nick, right? Nicholas, you're good?
Yep, looks like Joey just joined in too, so
Oh, perfect.
got the whole team.
Perfect.
I mean, these are short and to the point. You know, you're making data talk, data talk. Beautiful.
Pulling up our presentation here. All right, so this is presentation from myself, Joey, and John Pirelli. So the data that we decided to take a look at was 2 dimensions off of this part that we recently sampled at PTA. So we can see we have a dimension here, that's a length of the part, and we have a kind of a height dimension on this part as well. The data that we got in kind of looked like this. We had a couple corners that we evaluated. The corners have a couple changes in process parameters. Yeah, and a bunch of dimensions. We particularly looked at dimension 8 and dimension 11, and then on the table on the right, you can see kind of just the basic analysis off of that. Here's our control chart for dimension 8. We can see it held pretty steady through all of the sample. Joey, do you remember how many samples it was?
I think it's 50 on the A, or dimension 8, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 60 samples. So we can see it held pretty steady, so well within our upper and lower limits as well.
Perfect control, right?
Dimension 11 showed a little bit more variance, so we have it color-coded here for the different corners, so the different process parameters, so we can see how the different process changes affected how that dimension came out. But they all still were within our control limits. Joey, you want to speak to these?
Yeah, here's just our Z distribution. The left one, dimension 11, ended up being more of a normal bell-shaped curve. And then on the right side, dimension 8, this was kind of the more interesting one to me at least. You can see there's only 4 points, even though we had the same amount of data. But all of the measurements fell directly on those 4 points. So there wasn't much variance from part to part. So there aren't a whole bunch of points plotted. And then we kind of penciled in the bell-shaped curve so you can still see it on dimension 8 on the right. But all in all, both still represented a good distribution or a bell-shaped distribution.
Yeah, and then on this one here, we just plotted the two dimensions against each other to see if there was any correlation about if one kind of started to move in one direction, if the other would as well. And as we can see here, there was pretty much no correlation between the two dimensions.
Love it.
That was all we had.
Well done, guys. 3 and 17 minutes, not too shabby. But I think we got the point across, right? Well done. I think we have one more team that's going to go next Monday, 3 o'clock. So, and I'll send you guys the invite if you could pop on. Great. You know, I think a couple of guys were on vacation this past week. Well done though. So again, coffee mugs and certificates suitable for framing. I think maybe we have more than one valedictorian, Joanne. They've got a bunch. Well done, guys.
Hey, coffee mugs.
Thank you
Yes.
thank you very
We
much.
all have to cheers with them at some point.
What's that?
We all have to cheers with them at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not with coffee though.
Exactly. Maybe bourbon, the Olbrich way. All right. Have a great afternoon, people. Thank you, our special guest. Any closing comments from our guests? They're saying, when? Why did we go half an hour with ours? These are like so to the point. Like, and I love the data sets, just making data talk. Well done. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, everybody.
Excellent job, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.
Guys.
Bye.